BodyBags, where horror lies.
Are you eating it? Or is it eating you? I'm Sam, your Thursday reviewer for BodyBags. It is week 430, and this week I will present to you one of my favorites. The Stuff. It was made in 1985, made by Larry Cohen, and it's one of those movies that ended up being people didn't like it that much because of whatever, but you go and watch the movie and you're like, they cut so much out of this movie. So it ended up being like Justice League, Josh Whedon's Justice League. It ended up being kind of like that. So if they ever come out with a cut, like an extended cut or something, it's gonna be like a lot better because it's already a really nice cult classic movie. The movie's basically about this food company, dessert company. I don't know. There's something dairies, Amalgamated Dairies. This food company, and they hire our hero Mo Rutherford, whatever. It was close. Which is alright, let's go back a little bit. They hire Mo Rutherford, who is a industrial saboteur, and they basically hire him to find out what the stuff is. Let me go back and clarify. The stuff is this new dessert that's topping every single other dessert out there. Because when people eat it, they're like, I gotta get more. Because this stuff is just the stuff. It's good. It's great. It's tasty. You know, that guy in the movie says that's tasty. And so basically they hire him to find out what it is and, you know, bring some information back so that they can either recreate it or, you know, whatever. So that, because, you know, they're businessmen. Businessmen are busying men. Anyways. I really like this movie. A lot of criticism ends up just becoming timing, the jokes, the funny elements of this movie. And, you know, people out there may not like how the timing is and maybe the jokes, I guess. But, I mean, it's just a funny movie. It's a fun movie to go and watch with your family. You watch this movie, you would have thought it maybe would have been a little more bloodier, but, you know, it's not. So, if you're not into watching a gore movie, like, I don't even think it had that much language. It had some, but, like, not like a crazy amount, so that's not bad. You know, they didn't really add any things that were, like, not unnecessary, so that's good. I hope I said that right. It's a classic, okay? You look at the cast, you got Michael Moriarty, who, VHS 82 recently, he was in a movie that VHS 82 recently did. It's Alive 3. Michael Moriarty was one of the main characters in that, or was the main character in that. Who else is in it? I have to keep picking this up. Garrett Morris is in it. He plays Chocolate Chip Charlie. Oh, let me go back and clarify. Michael Moriarty is Mo, you know, our hero. And Garrett Morris plays Chocolate Chip Charlie, who's like the who's another kind of hero, but you see him like in like 1-2 scenes in the beginning, and then you don't see him until the ending. So that's kind of like whatever. Alright, I'm not picking that up. I'm not picking it up again, okay? I'm getting everything else from right here. Alright, so, I rate this movie a 9 out of 10. The only real problem is that the studio decided to cut some stuff from the movie, so, I mean, they do that, it might be a 9.5 to 10. How about that? But they probably won't. I mean, the movie's been out for like 40 plus years. Actually, no, it's been out for close to 40 years. And they haven't done anything yet, so I doubt they'll do anything about it. But, you know, it would be cool. But, you know, they probably won't. The scripting is nice, unless you don't like how they do it. Which is like a joke every so often. I feel like one of the jokes that they try to like do is basically how Mo talks. Because I don't know, maybe they were like, we want him to talk like this, and everyone was like, okay, whatever. Why? It's like, just because. It's like, okay, because he's like, well, I'm just trying to understand, like he's from the South or something, but dialogue's funny, good. If I had to describe this movie to someone using two movies, because I already hinted at it on accident, I would use Invasion of the Body Snatchers and The Blob. If you know the stuff and you know those two movies, then you'll understand why I said that. If you don't, then just think about it for a little bit. Pause the video and just think, how could you use those two movies to kind of like be like, this is what this is about? Anyways, we're at 8 minutes so far. What else do I want to talk about this movie? Alright, here's a fun it's a fun fact, but it ends up being kind of sad. So, the very first person you see in this movie, his character name is like Old Miner or something like that. Because he's a miner. Because the beginning of the movie, it starts off in a mine. That actor, I forget his name. I should not have forgot, but I did. He was like in a few different older stuff that I don't really know. Y'all might, because y'all people might, unless you're my age, which I'm not gonna lie, I doubt. But the stuff ended up being that guy's last movie, because he was just really old and stuff, So that's sad, but at least it ended off in a good note. If you like the stuff, then it was a good note. What else want to talk about this movie? I don't know. It might be done soon. I picked it up again. Let's think. Music's kind of nice. Not like the best thing in the world, but because there's like 2 or 3 pieces of music that they use in the movie, and they kind of just use it over and over again, and it's like, you can't pick anything else or use anything else, but it's whatever, I guess. It's kind of like if you had like it's kind of like if you had like 3 different songs from Star Wars, the main theme, Imperial March, and Duel of Fates or whatever. You only have those 3, and they cover a 2 hours and 30-minute Star Wars film with no other piece of music. That's what this felt like. And you might be like, hey, that doesn't sound that bad, but then you actually watch it and you're like, oh, that's kind of weird, But that was kind of like how this was like, they didn't really have that much other music in the movie, so that's kind of, like, if I'm trying to think right now, they had 4. 1 was a song, and 3 were just music for the movie. And the song was just for, like, the commercial scenes whenever they had the stuff in, like, a commercial. Let me see if I could remember off memory. Ba da dun 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 dun. Except the singing is not. You get the point. Yeah, that might be it. So, The Stuff, 1985. Larry Cohen directed it. Cast was nice. Cast was great. What are you talking about? It was not nice. It was great. Editing, we already talked about that. Soundtrack, already talked about that. So, actually, I might change my rating. Just because the editing was not great. The score was just 3-4 songs over and over again. So I guess you could say it got annoying at some point. So, actually, we're going to change it. It's going to be an 8 out of 10. Because of the negatives I just put out. So, that's kind of sad, but, that's kind of what happens when you edit the movie and stuff. Edit the movie too much. Anyways, what did we learn today? We learned that I'm Sam, your Thursday reviewer. Hopefully you remember that. And hopefully you will always remember that for the rest of your days. what else did we learn? We learned that The Stuff is a really unfortunate movie because of the fate that it had to go through. It's an underrated movie, and it's a cult classic. And if you say otherwise, then you're kind of stupid. And, yeah. That's basically all. I hope you enjoyed this week's review by me, Sam. And I'll see y'all next week. Goodbye, everyone.